Gabriele Binder, you earned your first Primetime Emmy nomination for Outstanding Period Costumes for The Queen's Gambit this year. It's the story of a chess prodigy in the 50s and 60s, and you're specifically nominated for the finale episode of the series, Endgame. What about that episode especially stood out to you as an example of your work?
I think we choose this episode because it brings everything together and makes kind of a round thing, because she meeting again with Jolene, she meeting again with Mr. Scheibel from the first episode, and she's going in the end to the old man, what reminds us of Mr. Scheibel. So I had the feeling that brings everything what was in it again together and makes a round circle. And I tried to support this circle with the costumes. So bringing back her colors from the beginning in the end, and doing stuff like this to bring it closer together, that maybe you don't realize it, but you kind of feel it, that that's something around.
And speaking of those colors, in this episode, Beth, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, has this color palette of blacks and whites and cream colors, and what were the considerations that went into her color scheme?
Yeah, I approached it from the chess itself, and I asked myself, what is inside chess? What is words to bring it in the costume, or what telling something about chess? So it's something sculptural, it's something geometrical, it's black and white, some contrast. So I tried to all adapt this in the costumes in a more or less subtle way, that you don't say, oh wow, it's about chess and she looks like chess. But that it's there, and I thought intuitively she would have chosen stuff like this, because this is all what she loves. So she wouldn't go for a flourish pattern or something like this. This has nothing to do with her personality. So she is chess, and so we go with a very straight and very minimalistic and also contrasty look to tell this story with the costumes.
In addition to evolving Beth over the course of the series, in this episode we're also meeting Jolene again after, for the first time since Beth was in the orphanage with her. What did you kind of want to express about that character played by Moses Ingram, who is also nominated for an Emmy? What did you want to express about her and her journey since we last saw her?
I thought that she is, of course, fighting for her cause, and that she realized that she's going for Black is beautiful, that she is maybe inspired by the Black Panthers, what was a bit in her costume with the boots and the leather. But of course, she's a woman, and she is using her intelligence to learn law and to bring it in from up and not fighting from down. I think that's her decision, but that she has something positive for the Black Panthers, and that she's really a strong personality. I try to bring this in the costume.
The show takes place several decades ago, but the looks have a very classic feel to them. Many of them were they all custom? Were you able to source any particular looks?
Let's say they were like 80% custom made, and luckily we found some really good and cool looks, and we added it. But most what you see on Anya Taylor-Joy, this is made for her. And I think the 60s is anyway a time what is appealing to us, because it was the first time when youth had the own fashion and developed something what was different, what the older generation would wear. Because before, when you get older and you are maybe around 18, you look like everybody else, only a little bit younger. And the 60s were the first time that the youth said, we want to look different, we do our own thing. So that's still interesting for us. And I think in the 60s, many styles are developed that are so minimalistical and clear in sculpture that they are revived again and again, and they have some forever classic.
And another thing that I noticed in this episode in particular is there's some really great turtlenecks in it that Beth wears, and also Towns has a very warm kind of cream-colored sweater. I'm just personally a fan of turtlenecks. I love them, so I noticed them.
Me too.
What were those? What went into considering those looks and what they kind of conveyed?
Yeah, actually, I love turtlenecks also because always I try to work to bring everything in the face because there's most emotion. So a turtleneck, there is only the face, or a V shape brings it up to the face. So actually, I try to bring all lines floating to the face, or make some clear cut that you have the face. So for me, it was a really wonderful thing to work with Scott Frank, because he said, please, no pattern on the body. And that's the same what I think. So we had the perfect film for working this way, because chess is like this.
And this episode brings Beth to Russia for the climactic tournament of the season. What considerations went into the crowd that gathers for that becomes fans of hers, the press, like those crowd scenes, and considering the location, what went into that?
Yeah, we had these growing crowds of fans. First, there are like 5 people watching her, and next day it's 20, and after next day it's 200 and thousands. Everybody become a fan, and also we tried in the background to dress girls a little bit in the best style to show that they are fans. And of course, this was more the Russian homemade variant of best style. But I think for her, it was this bathing in the love of those people, something what she never had before, and she didn't expect it, and she could open up her heart. And that's also in the last tournament when she wins. Scott said to me, let her be so simple and effortless as if she's playing on her kitchen table, because now she's relaxed, she is with herself, and she knows that she can win. So we made this very, let's say, kind of simple dress, and came back to her very first color to show this is the color from her mother. She feels connected now. And this what made her so weak before can make her strong now. So this is again about the circle, bringing back things from the beginning.
And you mentioned your kind of style choices being inspired by just the schemes and the styles of chess. And I remember her first look, when she first comes into that tournament with that very geometric black and white dress, and it's a very iconic power moment for her as she's starting this tournament.
Yeah.
What went into that look, and just how it works with that set and that cinematography, the way she's lit, it's incredibly impactful.
Yeah, that was kind of the macro look of the micro looks, because before we had always a very small chess pattern here and there, some checked stuff, and then we really blow it up. And when she walked in, she walked like on a runaway, something like this, and not like a chess player going to the table. It was really a great moment, and I was very happy that we chose this dress for this moment.
And her 2 last opponents of the competition are Luchenko and Borgoff, and of course she's had that rivalry with Borgoff for the entire series. What went into designing their looks, and sort of how they contrast with Beth in terms of personality, in terms of what they represent?
Especially, I had a lot of thoughts about Borgoff, how we get a kind of elegance and something also very proud Russian. And, we developed it from a Russian uniform and bring this shape in a really nice brownish material. And I also liked that he wear brown because it was for me a very unusual color for American suits. So it made him very different from this what he was used to, and it's also a strange color for military suits. So we connected two things that really don't go so well together, and it came out like this. What I found, it's very personal, he himself, and gave him some kind of strength and untouchability.
Well, I want to congratulate you for your work on the show, for your Emmy nomination, and for all the work you have yet to come. Looking forward to everything you have in store, and we will bring you back to talk with the entire group of designers.